Happy Sunday, boys and girls. A little bit of a late video today, but today is a great trade I'm going to share with you guys. Three overlapping confluences, right? It's a textbook D-shaped profile. And what the interesting thing about this trade is that actually the first trade idea got stopped out. It was the same trade, but the first one got stopped out by just a few ticks before it came back and actually gave an even stronger signal the second time around, which then provided me an even more confident entry to go along and take that same trade idea, make back the entire loss plus more across this Apex account. And it worked out to be a really, really good session after the fact. Now, I want to really share with you this part here, especially bring attention to the fact that you can, a lot of the time, guys, be correct on a trade idea, have the right, the right confluences lining up, you got the right direction in mind, but there's one part of the market that you can't control, and that's the random chaos and variance that is where your stop is placed, where your take profit is placed. Sometimes, your stop could be a decent amount of ticks. The market comes down, takes your stop out, like in this case, 10 ticks, boom, reverse, and comes back the way you were hoping. It doesn't mean you're out of the game. If you're managing your risk correctly, like you'll see I've done in this particular trade as well, if you're managing your risk correctly, or if you're trading multiple accounts, as long as those confluences are still there, you can rotate and take the same trade. Now, like I said, this was actually a hidden blessing in disguise because it gave an even stronger confluence that this trade was going to work out, giving me even more confidence to hold this trade for more of a runner on the next time around versus my initial one-to-one. So we'll take a look at the trade here, guys. I'm going to play the replay from today's school session live stream. This was taken live inside the Asian session stream inside of school. So I'll play the recap here. It got its little reaction up here and didn't get any higher than the lower VWAP. Melted back down. Look at this. It's a big snap back up towards value still. Low volume push towards the lows. This thing could still rocket back up. So I'm about to swap my accounts right now. Hold on a second. Still a low volume push. Watching the developing profile to see if we get much volume execute down here. If it doesn't, then I'll look for a snap back up. Let's see. Here's your snap back into value. What I mean, guys, you can be right on direction, just wrong on your stop placement. It's all in a good area. All in a good area. Those low volume pushes outside of the range are a good sign it's going to snap back to value. And that was just so quick. Holy shit. Nice low volume rejection from the low. Okay, one contract, just fill it, man. Just fill it. All right, and then second contract to break even, and I'm gonna see if I can get more from this play. If you can take partials, that's where you wanna be out. And now I'm just gonna trail this to see how much more I can squeeze from this move. Nice. So what you'll notice is that on the profile, the first time the trade went down to that area where I took the entry, right, I initially got my entry here and got stopped out. It was low volume down there, right? We'd seen earlier the market had come down, put in no volume at the lows and was quickly snapped back up, so that was good. So the second time around when it came down to test that same area, I was pretty confident getting long, which of course I was correct on the idea going long here. I got in long kind of early, all right? At the time of my trade entry here, I got in long right at the edge of this volume once it started to taper off and just above the previous day value high, right in front of the value level. I always like to trade based on the profile first, value level second. So I got in front a little bit early, a stop loss placed at an arbitrary 80 ticks, okay, because that was a decent range for the day. I felt comfortable with 80 ticks, and I was targeting at the time coming back towards the middle concentration of the D-shaped profile for a one-to-one. Okay, so I came down, swept my stop loss real close, came up almost halfway to my take profit before a sudden couple of candles that came down and swept me out just by a few ticks before whipsawing back up. Now, as soon as I saw that, I didn't waste any time. All right, I saw an extra confirmation here in the profile. Look what happened when the market came down here again. Once again, it pushed into the lows of the previous day value high, and this is where the extra confirmation is. It pushed into the lows, didn't put in any more volume. It stayed very low volume push into the lows. Now, when you're looking for a fade versus a breakaway, you want to see for a fade a low volume push. If it's going to break through the value level, if you see a nice low volume push, meaning no real volume being added to the profile at the lows and no nodes developing at the lows, then you know pretty well, okay, the moment this snaps back up, that's more likely to be a fade back inside value. So not long after that, we got a big snap. This candle pushed straight back up into the developing value area, back above previous day value high. I put in a limit order here, as you saw on the replay, to get long. Stop loss back down outside the previous day value high, back towards that low volume area, another 80 ticks. Even though I'd got stopped out on 80 ticks before, seeing this reaction from the lows, a low volume push and this strong buyback from buyers made me confident to keep that smaller stop loss of 80 ticks. I had a first take profit target of the VWAP, all right, for my first contract, and I took profit there at the VWAP. Second take profit target, I pulled my stop loss in and followed that up until the value highs and got out completely of the position, making back all the losses plus more and ending up quite nice on this particular Apex account. It's not far from getting a qualifying for the minimum threshold for payout, just past this one last week. So very happy with that trade, guys. Breakdown on the confluences was current session value low, edge of the D-shaped profile, lower VWAP band, and previous day value high. So you have all those A-rank confluences lining up. And there were some people in the live chat in the school today who, of course, this is totally normal when you're a newer trader or newer to volume profile, felt uneasy trading down here. And I always say, guys, if you have an A-rank trade, an A-rank stack of confluences, an A-rank setup forming, these are the trades that you should be least hesitant on. I find what I found with a lot of people inside school is that newer traders are way less hesitant to take B and C rank trades, which are trades that inherently have less edge, all right? We've looked at the stats over time, and also just from my own forward testing with this, B and C rank trades, meaning 1 to 2 confluences only, have a lower success rate, lower hit rate than A rank trades. But for some reason, newer traders are far less hesitant to take those low confluence trades versus an A rank trade. And my thoughts on this is that it's because when you're taking an A-rank trade, there's more confluences at play, yes, but there's also this bigger fear of being wrong and that hurting more because you see that A-rank setting up, you know, you're quite excited. You're like, yeah, an A-rank trade, a lot of confluences going for me, but you're fearful of being stopped out and that kind of the damage that might do to the ego, to your anticipation, to the excitement of getting in an A-rank trade. So maybe that's something that's at play for that. But it's an interesting little phenomenon I've noticed inside school, and since I've been teaching volume profile, is that, yeah, A-rank trades, people are much more hesitant than Bs and Cs. But guys, follow the data, all right, and follow the edge. When the A-rank trade presents itself, these are trades that I'm always, even if I get stopped out on the first attempt, if the confluence is there and if a stronger confluence shows up, I'm going to jump back in and take that trade because there's a lot of reason for the market to do something at this point, plus all the context to make that a much, much higher probability trade than the rest. So there it was live at play today, guys. Really good, decent session today for the Asian session. Now, if you want to go deeper and also come join the daily live sessions, I'll put the link for the school group in the comments below. You can get the full access to the course. You guys know the drill. Full access to all the course educational content and everything else, and as well as access to those daily live sessions. We got 443 members now, so growing nice and strong. A couple of nice wins just from last week. We had Dan getting his first ever payout, $1,500 after only joining for a month. And the next one here was just today. This one's not a payout, but I like to see these. Sometimes these are more impactful than seeing payout posts. This is Burak. He's been trading for a year, struggling with most things, right? Strategy after strategy. We know the feeling, guys. Wasn't finding anything that sticks. He's come across volume via the YouTube channel, and then he's locked in and joined the school community last month. Passed his first ever eval today, a 25K Lucid account within just 8 days of trading, and he said his win rate was around 70%. So pause and read this. Here's some good insights from passing his first ever eval and getting funded for the first time. Sometimes this feeling of getting funded for the first time is like just as strong or as powerful as your first ever payout, because for me, when I first got funded the first time, it felt so impossible beforehand getting to that funded stage. It was like, it was just felt so out of reach. And when I first got funded, that was honestly a big win for me compared to my first ever payout, right? So I know the feeling, and congrats to Burak for this as well. Only 8 days of trading and he's been able to get funded. So awesome work. Come along and join us inside, guys. And I'll see you either inside school tomorrow for Asia or see you again on the YouTube channel tomorrow as well.